Thank you for joining us on Business Basics. I'm here with Angie Nilsson, and my name is Nathan Johnson. Today we're going to be talking about BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goals. One thing that I think is really good about having a BHAG is it sets a really good overarching picture of the goal that everyone's striving for. So when a team member comes into their place of work and they want to know what the overarching goal of the company is or where they're heading, it's really easy to use the BHAG as that North Star. So it makes a lot of clarity and also helps people drive their decision-making process. So one of the things that's a lot easier is as people are making decisions or working autonomously is they can always sort of look to the BHAG as a North Star saying like, hey, is the decision I'm making going to impact this? Am I going in the right direction, or have I really veered off? And then once that happens, they can go contact whoever they're working with or their mentor to help find out what the best way is to get back on track.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to note that this is a company goal. I've had questions, well, what if the executive or the CEO leaves the company? Then we have to change our entire BHAG, where I very much caution that it's a company one. It doesn't matter who the CEO is, or the leadership can come and go, but this is where the company is going long term.
Now, do you feel that like a BHAG is one of the most important parts of starting out a strategic plan, or is it something that we can address after the fact?
I always start with it. I think it's really important to get that big goal first, and then you can set the smaller range goals after, because if you look at it like a big waterfall, it'd be the very top of the waterfall, and then it feeds all the other shorter term goals as you go down.
We felt the same when we were starting out, that we sort of took a look at our BHAG, and as we built our first strategic plan, what we came to realize was that we actually needed to tweak and adjust it as we got going. So the nice thing about it is that while you're working on it, it comes more clear as you go, as opposed to it having to be something that's specifically written in stone.
And we always want to keep it very front and center in our company. We keep it in our boardroom so everybody can see it within our company, and make sure that it's measurable, so it's something that you're tracking and you can see those small wins as you're going. Because a long-term goal, you can start to lose interest if you're not actually keeping it front of mind.
Do you have a suggestion or a time period in which you suggest companies either keep track of it or update their BHAG?
It really depends on what your BHAG is. For us, it's tied to share value, and we value our company annually. So then we update ours annually. But we have thought about doing a quarterly or a semi-annual valuation in the future, and then we would just adjust it accordingly. So I think it just depends on how you're measuring it.
Ours is active users, so one of the things that we do is we're updating ours monthly, and what we find is it really helps with team engagement, that then people are being able to see the participation. There's a little shorter of a window to see their actions having an effect on the overall goal of the company, and it creates a lot more excitement. So it's one of the things where I think coming up with a period that works best for your company is always sort of the best route. One of the things that we actually ran into is the BHAG ended up being one of the hardest parts for us to get right. So we focused on sort of setting a BHAG that followed the revenue lines, which seems like the most obvious thing to do because most companies live and drive on their revenue, because that's sort of the bloodline of the company. If you don't have resources, you can't really pay for things, and sort of companies basically understand this. But as we were going, we were trying to come up with something a little more unique and drives our real purpose and our activity. Do you have any suggestions for people when they're looking at it? Because generally what jumped into my head was like, let's make $1 billion and it all will be well, and then we can stroke our white cat and giggle or laugh, depending.
I think it's so different depending what kind of company you're with, because Nike's BHAG is crush Adidas. And so it's something that they can just all rally around, and it entices them, it empowers them, it's something that everybody gets behind.
Yeah, I've definitely found that they suggest avoiding revenue or direct money targets as they're sort of uninspiring, where a lot of people, that's their lives they live, it's what they're bound to. They sort of want to be able to come to their work and participate in something bigger, more grand, more impactful. And especially with the upcoming generation, I think they're much more interested in an actual impact. And I think showing how your company's having that impact by using a BHAG is a really inspiring way to allow your team to see the effect that they're having grander than the company, that they're also affecting people beyond it too.